Right now, most of you are losing the war before the day even begins. Not against other people, not against the world, but against the voice in your head that says, stay comfortable, hit snooze. Don't push, don't suffer. That voice is your enemy. And if you don't declare war against it, it will own you for the rest of your life. Today, I'm going to show you how to go to war with your mind and win. When I talk about war, I'm not talking about soldiers, guns, or battlefields. I'm talking about the silent, invisible war that happens every single day inside your head. Your mind is the most dangerous battlefield you'll ever walk on, and the fight never stops. Most people lose before they even know the war has started. They give in to weakness, they let excuses command them, and they live their entire lives as prisoners of their own mind. But not you. Not if you decide to fight. This is about taking back control, about building a warrior mindset that doesn't flinch, doesn't negotiate, doesn't break. This is about declaring war with your mind. And refusing to lose, you wake up in the morning, and before your feet even hit the floor, the war has already started. That little whisper in your head says, stay in bed, you're tired. You earned it. You don't have to push today. That voice is the enemy. That voice is weak. And most people don't even realize that it's running their entire life. They let it call the shots. They let it tell them when to quit, when to rest, when to stop. They hand over the steering wheel to a voice that was built to keep them soft, comfortable, and mediocre. This is the reality. You're not fighting the world first. You're not fighting your boss, your parents, or the competition out there. The first war, the most important war, is the one inside your own head. And most of you are losing it because you don't even see it as a war. You think that voice is you. But it's not. It's a coward living rent-free in your mind. It's that part of you that doesn't want to be exposed, doesn't want to bleed, doesn't want to suffer. And if you don't learn to recognize it, to call it out, it will own every part of your life. You see, the weak voice has one job to keep you safe. But safe is a lie. Safe means stuck. Safe means you never discover how strong you can be, how far you can go, how much fire you really have in you. The weak voice tells you, don't lift heavy. Don't run that far. Don't try that business. Don't have that hard conversation. It's a lie. It's an enemy disguised as a friend, pretending to protect you while it slowly strangles every dream, every ounce of potential you've got. You've got to learn to see it for what it is. The enemy within. And here's the brutal truth, that enemy is not going away. Ever. It's going to be there every morning, every night, whispering in your ear, trying to pull you back into the pit of comfort. You can't kill it. You can only fight it. You can only decide that today, right now. You're not going to let it win. That's why I call it a war. Because it's not a single battle. It's not a one-time decision. It's a never-ending fight. And if you want to live strong, if you want to live free, if you want to live with purpose, you better gear up for war every single day. Think about it. How many times have you quit on yourself before the world even asked anything of you? How many times have you said, I'll do it tomorrow? Or I don't feel like it? Or it's too hard? And you never even gave yourself a chance to see what you're capable of. That's the weak voice controlling your life. That's the enemy laughing at you while you stay small, and you wonder why you feel stuck, why you feel empty, why you're not where you want to be. It's because you keep negotiating with weakness. There's no negotiation in war. You don't sit down with the enemy and ask for terms. You don't make excuses. You don't compromise. You fight. And that's exactly how you've got to deal with the weak voice in your head. The second it says, stay down, you get up. The second it says, you can't, you do it twice. The second it says, you're tired, you push harder. That's how you break it. That's how you prove to yourself who's really in control. But here's what makes it so damn hard. The weak voice doesn't scream. It whispers. It comes in soft, logical, reasonable. It says things that sound good at the moment. You've done enough. Rest is important. You don't need to suffer today. And that's how it traps you. Because it's not coming at you with fire. It's coming at you with comfort. And comfort is the deadliest drug on this planet. Comfort will kill more dreams than fear ever will. Comfort is the enemy's weapon. And if you don't see it for what it is, you're done before you even start. So you've got to make a decision today to call it out, to look that voice dead in the eye and say, I see you, I hear you, and you don't run my life anymore. That's the first step in winning the war with your mind, recognizing that the enemy lives inside, not outside, not in circumstances, not in other people. Right here between your ears, that's where the fight is. That's where the battle begins. And until you're ready to face that, until you're ready to stop lying to yourself, you're going to keep living small. You're going to keep losing, and you're going to keep wondering why nothing ever changes. The enemy is within. The weak voice is real. And if you want to become something more, if you want to rise above average, if you want to live as a warrior, you've got to go to war with that voice every damn day of your life. When people hear the word suffering, they flinch. They think it's something to avoid, something to run away from, something that has no place in a so-called good life. But let me tell you, this suffering is not your enemy. Suffering is the greatest weapon you've got in this war with your mind. The problem is, most of you are too afraid to pick it up. You think suffering means you're broken, that something is wrong. But the truth is, suffering is where strength is forged. It's the fire that burns away the weakness, the lies, the excuses, and leaves behind the steel of who you're really meant to be. Think about it. Every great warrior, every champion, every person who ever rose above average did it by walking through hell. They didn't do it by staying comfortable. They didn't do it by listening to that weak voice telling them to take it easy. They did it by choosing the hard path, by embracing the pain, by understanding that the only way to build a mind that cannot be broken is by putting it through suffering. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. You're soft because you've been avoiding suffering your whole life. You've been protecting yourself, shielding yourself, running every time things got hard. And now you wonder why your mind folds when the second life applies pressure. You wonder why you give up so easily, why you quit at the first sign of struggle. It's because you never trained your mind to handle it. You've been living in comfort, and comfort has made you weak. Suffering is the weight room of the mind. Every rep of pain, every second of struggle, every mile you run when your lungs are burning and your legs feel like lead, that's mental muscle being built. That's your mind learning to hold the line when the enemy within tells you to surrender. And the beautiful thing is, suffering doesn't lie. You can't fake it. You can't pretend. You either show up in the fire or you don't. That's why it's the weapon. Because when you choose suffering, when you willingly walk into the storm, you're telling the enemy, I'm not afraid of you. I'll use the pain you throw at me to get stronger. People say to me, why do you run so far? Why do you push so hard? Why do you put yourself through that? Because I know what's waiting for me if I don't. If I don't suffer by choice, life will make me suffer by force. Life doesn't care about your comfort. Life doesn't care about your excuses. Life is going to throw pain at you whether you want it or not. So you've got two choices: suffer on your own terms or get crushed by suffering when it blindsides you. The first builds you. The second breaks you. You want to know how to build unshakable mental toughness. Stop running from the hard stuff. Stop looking for shortcuts. Stop waiting for it to get easier. It's not going to get easier. You've got to get stronger. And the only way to get stronger is to suffer. Wake up earlier than you want to. Push further than feels comfortable. Do the extra rep when your body's begging to stop. Sit with the pain, with the discomfort, with the voice in your head that says, this is too much. And then smile, because you know in that moment you're forging a weapon inside your mind that nobody can take away. Suffering is not punishment. It's preparation. Every drop of sweat, every blister, every ounce of pain is a down payment on the life you say you want. The problem is, most people want the reward without paying the cost. They want strength without struggle, discipline without discomfort, victory without battle. That's not how it works. You don't earn toughness in comfort. You don't earn greatness by staying safe. You earn it in the trenches of suffering. That's where warriors are made. The weak voice will always tell you to avoid it. It will say, don't go for that run. Don't take on that challenge. Don't step into the unknown. It will convince you that suffering is something to be feared. But the warrior knows better. The warrior knows that suffering is the path. The warrior knows that pain is the process. The warrior knows that every time he suffers, he takes the enemy's weapon and turns it back on him. You can't win this war with your mind if you're not willing to suffer. You can't rise above average if you're not willing to bleed for it. And I'm not just talking about physical suffering. I'm talking about mental, emotional, and spiritual suffering. Facing your fears. Owning your flaws. Telling the truth when lying would be easier. Standing alone when everyone else walks away. That's suffering. That's where real growth happens. So the question isn't, how do I avoid suffering? The question is, how do I suffer better? How do I take this pain, this struggle, this fire, and use it to sharpen my mind instead of letting it burn me down? That's the difference between the weak and the strong. The weak run from it. The strong embrace it. The weak complain about it. The strong turn it into fuel. The weak see suffering as the end. The strong see it as the beginning. Every day you wake up, you're going to suffer one way or another. You can suffer the regret of staying the same, or you can suffer the discipline of becoming better. Both hurt. But only one builds you. Only one turns you into a weapon. Only one makes you unstoppable in this war with your mind. Your feelings don't care about your future. Your feelings don't care about your goals, your dreams, or the kind of person you say you want to be. Feelings only care about one thing: comfort. That's it. The problem is, you've been trained your whole life to obey your feelings. If you feel tired, you rest. If you feel scared, you quit. If you feel bored, you scroll. And you don't even realize what's happening. You're letting your feelings command you like a slave. But discipline doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired, if you're scared, if you're bored. Discipline says, this is what we do, no matter what. And in this war with your mind, discipline is the weapon that wins the battle. Think about how many times you've lost because of your feelings. You want it to work out, but you didn't feel like it. You wanted to wake up early, but you felt too tired. You wanted to take that step toward your dream, but you didn't feel ready. That's not life stopping you. That's not fate working against you. That's you being controlled by a voice inside your head that wants to keep you weak. Feelings are the enemy's favorite weapon. They whisper, not today, maybe tomorrow. Take it easy. And every time you listen, you hand over the battlefield. You give up territory in your own mind without even realizing it. But when you live by discipline, everything changes. Discipline is the truth. Discipline is structure. Discipline is the steel wall between who you are now and who you want to become. You might not feel like working out, but discipline doesn't care. You get up and move. You might not feel like grinding, but discipline doesn't care. You sit down and work. You might not feel like facing that fear, but discipline doesn't care. You do it anyway. Discipline is the executioner of excuses. Discipline is the destroyer of weakness. I've lived both ways. I know what it's like to wake up every day and listen to feelings. To stay in bed because I felt tired. To quit because I felt broken. To avoid the challenge because I felt scared. And I can tell you straight, it's hell. Because when you live by feelings, you live in chains. You think you're free, but you're not. You're a prisoner to every mood, every impulse, every whisper of weakness that crawls into your mind. The enemy doesn't even have to fight you. You're already beaten. But when you flip the switch and start living by discipline, that's when you gain freedom. That's when you stop being dragged around by whatever emotion shows up and you start leading yourself. Discipline is freedom because it puts you in control. You decide what gets done, not your lazy feelings. You decide when to move, not your fears. You decide when to act, not your comfort zone. And once you learn to put discipline above feelings, the enemy loses his power. He can throw fatigue at you, fear at you, doubt at you, but you don't break because discipline doesn't break. Discipline is waking up before the sun because you said you would, not because you felt like it. Discipline is putting in the miles when your legs are on fire and your lungs are screaming for mercy. Discipline is saying no to the easy path, no to the shortcuts, no to the weakness that wants to pull you down. Discipline is being loyal to your future self, not your current feelings. That's how you win this war with your mind. You stop negotiating with feelings and you start executing with discipline. Here's the hard truth. If you keep living by feelings, your life will stay small. You'll quit every time it gets hard. You'll give up every time you're uncomfortable. You'll talk about what you want, but never do what it takes. You'll stay in the same cycle of weakness, wishing you were stronger, but never building the discipline to get there. The battlefield of your mind will always belong to the enemy because you never picked up the weapon of discipline. I'm not telling you this to inspire you. I'm telling you this because it's survival. Discipline is the only way to survive this war. If you let feelings run the show, you lose. But if you let discipline lead, you can fight through anything. Tired, discipline moves anyway. Scared, discipline steps forward anyway. Weak, discipline shows up anyway. That's how warriors are built. Not in the good days, not in the easy moments, but in the days when everything in you says, quit, and discipline says, get it done. You need to stop waiting to feel motivated. Stop waiting to feel strong. Stop waiting to feel ready. That moment is never coming. If you wait for feelings, you'll wait forever. Discipline is what gets you moving when motivation is gone. Discipline is what gets you to finish when strength runs out. Discipline is what makes you step into the fight when fear is screaming at you to run. Discipline is the hammer that smashes the chains of weakness. This war with your mind is not won by comfort. It's not won by waiting. It's not won by feelings. It's won by discipline. Every day, every moment, you're making a choice. Will you obey your feelings or will you obey your discipline? Will you be a slave to weakness or will you be a warrior with an unbreakable will? That's the question. That's the battle. And the answer is written in your actions, not your feelings. Talk is cheap. Motivation fades. Ideas, dreams, goals, they're all worthless without action. And not just occasional action, not just when I feel like it action, but relentless, unstoppable, non-negotiable action. This is where the war with your mind is either won or lost. Because you can sit here and think about being strong. You can daydream about being successful. You can talk about how much you want to change. But the battlefield doesn't care about your words. The battlefield only responds to what you do. Relentless action is not glamorous. It's not the highlight reel you see on social media. It's the grind in the dark when nobody is watching. It's the pain that no one else feels. It's the days you drag yourself forward even when your body screams stop. And your mind tells you, it's enough. Relentless action means you don't just hit once and walk away. You hit again and again and again until the enemy inside you is broken and can't stand up anymore. You don't wait for the perfect conditions. You don't wait for the right mood. You move no matter what. This war inside your mind isn't won in a single battle. It's a war of attrition. Every day your weakness will rise up. Every day fear will whisper in your ear. Every day laziness will try to put you back in chains. And if you only fight sometimes, if you only act when you feel inspired, you'll lose. Because the enemy doesn't take days off. Your doubts don't take holidays. Your fears don't take weekends. They're relentless. So the only way to win is to be more relentless than them, to fight harder, longer, stronger, with more consistency than your weaknesses can handle. Relentless action is what transforms you from someone who just talks about change to someone who actually lives it. Think about this. How many times have you said, tomorrow I'll start? How many times have you said, this is the year I change? How many times have you promised yourself something, only to break it the moment it got hard? That's the weakness of winning. That's the enemy laughing at you. The only way to silence that voice is through relentless action, not words, not promises, action. Because action is the truth. Action is proof. Action is the only language your mind respects. I've seen people break records, overcome impossible odds, not because they were smarter, not because they were stronger, but because they refused to stop. They kept moving forward when everyone else quit. That's relentless action. It's waking up at 4 a.m. to run miles when no one believes in you. It's studying, grinding, hustling, building when no one is clapping for you. It's pushing past pain, past fatigue, past fear, because you know the war isn't over yet. Relentless action is showing up again and again until the enemy realizes he can't kill your will. And here's the truth, relentless action hurts. It's supposed to hurt. That pain you feel when you push yourself past your limits, that's not weakness breaking you. That's weakness leaving your body. That suffering is the sign that you're in the fight. If it's easy, you're not fighting. If it's comfortable, you're not at war. The war with your mind is supposed to be brutal because the prize is freedom. The prize is power. The prize is knowing you've conquered yourself. And you don't get that by sitting still. You earn it through relentless action. Every single rep you do when you don't want to, every single step you take when you feel like quitting, every single second you endure when you're screaming inside to stop, that's a victory. Those moments stack up. They build you into someone unrecognizable. They transform you from the person who always gave and always quit, always played small, into someone unbreakable. Someone the enemy can't defeat. That's what relentless action does. It changes you at the core. People want quick fixes. They want hacks. They want shortcuts. They think if they just listen to enough motivational speeches, read enough books, or write down enough goals, they'll magically change. But the truth is, none of that matters without action. You can consume motivation all day, but if you don't move, if you don't fight, if you don't act, you'll stay exactly where you are. Motivation is the spark, but action is the fire. Relentless action is the inferno that burns away weakness and builds a new you. You can't half-step your way through this. You can't go all in for a week and then quit. Relentless means forever. Relentless means day after day after day, no matter what. It's not about intensity once. It's about consistency always. The enemy is waiting for you to slow down, waiting for you to relax, waiting for you to get comfortable. That's when he strikes. That's when you fall back into the old you. That's why relentless action is the only way. You don't stop until there is no weakness left to rise against you. And let me tell you something, the moment you commit to relentless action, truly commit, you become unstoppable. You stop being controlled by fear, by doubt, by excuses. You take full ownership of your life. You stop waiting for the world to hand you power and you take it yourself. Relentless action is the ultimate declaration of war on weakness. It's the line in the sand that says, I will not quit. I will not bow. I will not stop, ever. The war with your mind is the only war that truly matters. Every battle you fight out there, in the world, in your career, in your relationships, it all begins and ends here inside your head. And the truth is brutal. Either you conquer it or it conquers you. There is no middle ground, no peace treaty, no compromise. Your mind will test you. It will deceive you. It will push you toward weakness every single day. And if you bow to it, if you let it dictate your actions, you will spend your life chained, limited, powerless. But if you fight, if you embrace the suffering, if you accept the grind, if you commit to relentless action, then something changes. Slowly, day by day, you start rewriting the script. The excuses get quieter. The fear gets weaker. The doubt loses its grip. And what rises in its place is a version of you that cannot be broken. A version of you that commands respect, not just from others, but from yourself. That's the real prize. It's not money. It's not recognition. It's not applause. It's standing in front of the mirror and knowing you fought the hardest war a human can fight, and you won. You won against the voice that said you couldn't. You won against the weakness that tried to control you. You won against the old you that always quit. And understand this, the war never really ends. Tomorrow the enemy will rise again. Tomorrow fear, doubt, and weakness will march back onto the battlefield. But now you know the truth. You are stronger. You are prepared. You have the weapons. You have the will. And as long as you refuse to quit, as long as you keep showing up, you will win again and again, again. So when you walk away today, don't walk away softly. Don't walk away passive. Walk away ready. Walk away as a soldier of your own mind, committed to fighting this war until your very last breath. Because victory doesn't belong to those who wait. It belongs to those who fight and fight and fight until their weakness has no place left to hide.